Over the last few years, the ACC, we've really kind of seen this conference in general on the uptick, and I think a large part of that is they've done a great job of hiring good coaches. Tino Babers getting hired at Syracuse, Bronco Mendenhall at Virginia, so on and so forth. The talent of coaching within this conference is much better than the heralded SEC and some of these other conferences. And you're starting to see that with these teams getting better. It's still Clemson's conference, don't get me wrong, but we're seeing better teams. So if we look at this, starting in the Atlantic, as I mentioned, it's Clemson's conference. They're going to be good. Trevor Lawrence is back at quarterback. T. Higgins, Justin Ross at receiver. The offensive lines continue to get better. Travis Etienne at running back. The defense, they lost 4 guys to the NFL draft on their defensive line, but they still had young guys that were just waiting in the wings to come up. Isaiah Simmons is back at cornerback. Or linebacker. They've got guys coming back in the defensive backfield. Clemson should go through this conference undefeated. They may have one loss, but I don't think that's going to prevent them from going to the playoffs. But we've seen other teams like Syracuse played, took that next step last year. Hey, they're getting better. NC State, I think they kind of take a little bit of a step back, but there's another team that's gotten better. Boston College is a tough team. This division, Florida State, I think Willie Taggart's going to get them going in the right direction. It's Clemson this year and kind of everybody else, but in the next couple of years, I think Clemson's going to start getting to see a little bit more competition. The big question, though, is who is Clemson going to play in the ACC championship game? Who's going to win the Coastal Division? Right? Ever since really this new ACC has been developed, it's been the Atlantic teams kind of dominating, whether it was Florida State under Jimbo Fisher and Jameis Winston and them, Clemson now, and then it's going to been a who's who. Or who's not. Virginia Tech has been there. Pittsburgh a few times. Duke has gone there. Who's going to win it this year? I think there's 2 teams to kind of keep an eye on. I think it's going to be Virginia and it's going to be Miami. When the ACC was set up, they were hoping it was going to be Florida State on one side, Miami on the other side, and that'd be kind of their 2 bookends on each division, and they were going to meet in that conference championship game. It just hasn't worked that way. Miami, since joining the ACC, they had that big year a couple years ago, has never really truly been that great program. Manny Diaz is their new head coach this year. They've got a ton of transfers in from some high-profile transfers. Can he get this team back from 7-6 up? I don't know. There's a lot of teams in flux. I think the team that wins this division is Virginia. Here's a team that went 8-5 last year. Kind of can't, no one really expected a whole lot of them. Bronco Mendenhall, been at BYU for so long, comes over to Virginia, kind of surprised a lot of people. I think he's a very talented coach. His program that he's building is starting to really take hold. I think they make that jump this year. Bryce Perkins, their quarterback, doesn't look like your traditional quarterback. He doesn't have the beautiful throwing motion in that. He just knows how to make plays. And he's got 6 other starters on offense with him. They've got an experienced defense coming back, led by Bryce Hall, another guy that's got the NFL draft community fluttering with love for him. Tall, long, fluid athlete. I think Virginia's the team that wins the Coastal Division, goes on to take on Clemson in the ACC title game. I don't think Virginia wins, but I think they can give at least Clemson some fits.